It's Jar Jar Jeremy, and you're about to listen to a show that you really shouldn't listen to. You should go over to Pinecast right now, check out the Loose Cannon Show with Jar Jar Jeremy, and just forget about Pint O Comics. All right? That's right.
Hey there, this is John from Pint O Comics.
And I'm Lloyd, also from Pint O Comics.
And I'm the other John, and you get it by now. As you may know, we sometimes use language on this show that can be described as...
Filthy.
Okay.
Reprehensible?
Crude?
Sure.
Nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, guys. We all know that it's just plain out gutter talk.
You've been warned. Listen in. There goes your silence.
That's all I needed. I already had what I needed. Welcome to Pint O Comics, and we are doing something that, boy, we are just about 100 episodes in, and we have finally decided...
90-something.
What is this, 99?
This will be 97.
All right.
If
Maybe.
If all goes according to plan, this will be 97. So it took us 97 episodes to actually get to a point where we
Talk about a comic book.
We said, let's talk about comics a little bit more.
Remember when we used to do that?
Remember when we talked about comic books?
Them damn funny books.
They started talking about them moving pictures.
We talk about movies and TV and Comic Cons and beer. All right, so Ganache, the Manster, Sir John, and Luke Skywalker here with you in the first of our brand new series called the 100 Proof Book Project.
There's a question for you. How many series do we have?
We got a couple. Point? We got this. Well, we got Scary Larry's House of Universal Horrors. We got the Pint Movie Invitational, and we have we have this, and then we also did have our top 10 DC and Marvel, but those are all over.
Well, that was a mini series.
Can I be honest here?
Yeah,
I feel like I've been knocked down a peg.
How have you been knocked down a peg?
Well, we teased Masterpiece Theater a long time ago, and this seems like the perfect thing for
that. Did we whack your PP?
Masterpiece Theater.
I'm very sad.
I'm gonna cut all that.
Are we out of that?
There's a special set for me.
Hold on. I'm gonna cut all this out because then we're just gonna go.
No, this is gonna be good.
No, this is all cut out.
All right,
we'll do
something. You're gonna listen to it. You're gonna go, "Oh, this is a fucking awesome thing."
Masterpiece Theater is a great name, and I will figure something out for it.
All right, and it's not gonna be this.
It's not gonna be this. But Masterpiece. Okay, so a while ago, I said to Luke, I said to the Master, I said, I got a great idea. We're going to do a series called Masterpiece Theater.
I'm going to go home and just get in the fetal position.
And what we're going to do is we're going to
suck my thumb.
We're going to let you pick a book for us to read.
All right, I pick Black Hammer.
There you go. So this is Masterpiece Theater. No, 100 proof book project.
All right, 100 proof.
What we're going to do here
say that
is
100 proof book project.
Easy. This is not hard.
It's too many B's and P's for me.
You're disqualified.
Slow it down. The 100 Proof Book Project.
All right, I got it.
100 Proof
100
Book Project.
Proof Book Project.
Or you could say it like this.
No, that will go. All right. So what we're going to do on this little subset of episodes on this project is we are going to deep dive into story arcs of comics. Maybe we'll do a mini series. Maybe we'll do the first so many issues of a series. Maybe we'll do a middle. Maybe we'll do something that's stuck out in time. People like whatever we choose to do.
We are compiling a list now.
And we are compiling a list now. We actually have a couple that we're figuring on. But the first one today, as the Manster alluded to, because he's always talking about this fucking book.
I talk about this a lot.
And I was at Boom Tube Comics, 1475 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike in Southington, Milldale, Plainville, Connecticut, pardon me. And I bought the first 2 trades of Dark Horse's Black Hammer. You know, I could the super password is. And I could have done one of 2 things. I could have done my normal thing where I let it sit there forever and I don't read it, or I could say, let me read it and let's give it a purpose. Let's make this the first book in the 100 Proof Book Club and book project. And Lou himself had recently bought the first trade and read it. See? So it made sense. It's easy to say. I said club.
He just said the wrong
word. I said club. No big deal. All right. So
We'll change it eventually.
No, we'll never change it.
I got a club for
we'll
you.
particularly not change it just because you want me to change it. All right. So in any case, we are talking about Black Hammer Volume 1.
Is it a project or a club now?
It's a project.
Okay, it's a project.
It's a project. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure. I don't want to misname it.
No, you're good. You're good. Project. All right. We've talked about this fucking title for way too long. We've talked about we're 3 minutes in. People are tuning out left and right, and they're like, I just want to hear about the book. So
Fucking Pint O Comics again.
we're talking about the first 6 issues of Black Hammer. Dark Horse Secret Origins is the title of the actual trade.
Is that the trade name?
That's the trade name. So before we get too far into talking about the book and the characters and all that stuff, Lloyd, you have a little bit of history about Black Hammer. You've been going on about Black Hammer for a while, so why don't you give us an idea? Let's find out who wrote it, who drew it, all that good stuff.
All right, so this is written by Jeff Lemire he's written a lot of stuff. Animal Man for DC.
Trillium
Trillium.
for Vertigo, which I loved.
Underwater Welder. Roughneck. Oh, Underwater Welder.
Underwater Welder.
That was a fantastic.
Underwater Welder was on our pop culture things that make you cry. It was on your list.
It was on my list. It did make me cry.
Yeah, he did Green Arrow for a while, and during the New 52, I believe, because that book was terrible up until he took over. He took over for like 12 issues. It was very good. It was drawn by Andrea Sorrentino, which was awesome art. And then he left, and the book went right back into the shitter.
And now he does another book with Andrea Sorrentino, Gideon Falls.
Gideon Falls, and he just had a book come out this week.
That's from
Gideon Falls
that's
was
a Dark Horse book, isn't it?
No, that's Image.
Image.
Yeah,
And he has
AD with Scott Snyder.
And he has an Image book that came out, well, by the time you hear this, a couple weeks ago, with Mike Diodato, called, I think, Berserker.
Oh, that is right. Berserker. Yeah.
Okay. So we got Jeff Lemire.
So I read almost everything that he puts out.
We forgot. I mean, did you mention? I think his biggest, and I know you love the series. I read a few issues of it and I liked it. Probably his biggest Vertigo book that kind of brought him into stardom was Sweet Tooth. Did you say Sweet Tooth?
Sweet Tooth. Yeah. Oh, that's another cry book at the very end. That's an awesome book.
I read like the first one when I used to have access to DC books through Comixology. I read the first maybe 6 issues and I did like it. It was good. It's like a post-apocalyptic story about like a deer boy.
Yeah, a deer boy.
Yeah, it was weird.
There's other anthropomorphic sort of people.
Yeah.
Things.
All right. So Jeff Lemire writing a bunch of stuff.
Well, I'm getting like snorts over here.
Do you listen to Pint of Comics? Do you not hear? I actually talked to our buddy Stu from Ghost of the Stratosphere because he does that a lot. I said, you do the Sir John thing to your co-host all the time, right? And he's like, I don't think I do it as derisively as John does. I'm like,
no one can.
I'm like,
he's unparalleled.
But I told him, I said, just so you know, you can't make that noise without sounding like a dickhead. like you're basically like. There's no way to make it sound supportive.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's good, Lloyd. That's good.
All right.
Okay.
Jeff Lemire. All right. Who drew it?
Drawn by Dean Ormston. All right. So Jeff Lemire came up with this in 2007. And
they co-created this. This is not a Jeff Lemire thing. They created this together,
Originally, it was just Jeff Lemire.
Okay.
And it percolated for like 7 years. So he conceived it in 2007. The plan was to release it in 2015, and Ormston had a cerebral hemorrhage.
Really?
And it was put off by another year, so it didn't come out till 2016.
Holy shit!
And Ormston did some Sandman, correct?
No. He did Lucifer.
Oh, he did Lucifer. Okay.
Right. He's done a lot of Vertigo stuff. So
yeah, I think he also did. You know what it was? I think he did an issue or 2 of Sandman Mystery Theater. I think is what it was.
Yes, he did do that.
All right.
Yeah, he was partially paralyzed on the right side of his body.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read the same thing. Yeah.
Took about a year of rehab.
Yeah.
Annual number 1.
And during that time, I guess he...
Sandman Mystery Theater annual number 1.
Annual number 1.
During that time, he was assisted by Peter Gross for the layouts of Black Hammer.
They've known each other for a long time, so...
So I guess it was only supposed to go... It had like a cliffhanger ending at issue 13, which... Does that go to 13?
No, we're at 6.
That's only the first 6.
We went to the first 6, yep.
So then after that, they decided it was going to sort of have different phases. So they're coming to the end of phase 1 now, and there's going to be more.
Oh, so this is like the Marvel Cinematic Universe for Dark Horse comic books. Where they're
I guess they're actually calling it the Hammerverse. Yeah, even though there's another Hammerverse out there.
Well, when the first issue got solicited, I remember reading it, and I'm like, oh, this sounds interesting. And I thought it was somehow connected to the Magnolaverse and the Hellboy stuff.
I thought so too.
Yeah, it's not related to that.
Right, it's not. But That's what I thought then, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, I just couldn't fit it into my reading pile at the time. I just didn't want to add another thing. And, well, that's why I've never read it. I just didn't continue after that.
Right. So maybe at the end of the show, we'll go over all the spin-offs that are
we'll go over all that stuff.
But there's like maybe about 10 or so.
Because they actually they don't call it the Hammerverse thing. It's called the World of Black Hammer. It's kind of like the umbrella term that they're using for all the different series and all that stuff. So John, why don't you kind of give us? You're so good at the bumper sticker. Why don't you bumper sticker as best you can what these first 6 issues kind of entail?
Archetype superheroes stuck in a otherworldly situation that they can't get out of.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's it.
Little town called Rockwood.
Right, Rockwood, and this is, without getting too far ahead of ourselves, this 6 issues and the title "Secret Origins" is the definition of like an origin story, character story. Because again, without saying one way or the other whether I like it or not, nothing happens in this book of any. It's all character building. There's no conflict. There's no who's the supervillain in this. There isn't one. It's just
there's conflict.
There's conflict
no
amongst
villain
each
that
other.
They're fighting.
But again, that's character building. There's conflict amongst each other and their situations. But this isn't like you're talking about, like you said.
It's a mystery.
It's an absolute mystery.
Yeah, it's a mystery, and it's a well set up mystery. When it gets to books like this, I want some kind of conclusion at the end of the first issue. This one hands you what would be a great way of packaging a series of single issues like this. It's not necessarily written for the trade, but it's definitely easily sold in a trade. Obviously, that's the way things are written these days. It works well.
Yeah,
the first issue shows you where they are and what their life is currently, and then it ends on not really a cliffhanger, but it shows you sort of like who's driving the story. Right.
So,
and then the next 5 issues all cover each of the 5 characters in their group.
Yeah, each person becomes a central figure in each story.
Right.
Which it's a nice way of telling the story.
It's a good way of packaging that part of it.
Yeah,
and there's good overlapping where it's not like issue 2 you're only reading about this character.
Right,
you're also seeing how
it's a continuous story.
Story. You're seeing how they relate to the other characters and what's going on.
It's well plotted.
So let's just kind of give this like the idea of like John gave it a good bumper sticker, but the actual situation is that a group of superheroes in a city called Spiral City.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Metropolis. This is right. This is every
what?
This is every superhero archetypal city ever.
Metropolis.
And
when we go through the characters, we can say who the archetype is.
Yeah, we'll go through the characters in a second, but. They're in this city called Spiral City, and the city gets attacked by Galactus. It's not Galactus. It's the Anti-Monitor. It's the
anti-god.
It's the anti-god.
Who's really Galactus /
the Anti-Monitor.
It's the Anti-Monitor.
He's a giant. He's a giant.
But he looks like Galactus in Darkseid.
Well, he's got his head things go the opposite way. It's Galactus. It's one of those characters.
It's the anti-god.
And as these characters come together to defeat the anti-god, at the end of the battle, there is a flash of light, and then what, Lou? Where do they go from there?
That's where it basically picks up because you see the fight afterwards. It just starts with them in Rockwood.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, like for linear plot purposes, they disappear out of Spiral City, and then they immediately these 6 characters, is it? End up
in Rockwood.
Right, in Rockwood.
I'm glad you said that. I mean, this story is definitely a non-linear story.
Oh, yeah. No.
And especially one of the characters when we get to them.
Well, it is. It's still linear.
But it jumps back and forth constantly.
It has a central following plot that branches out from there.
The timeline that we're following is them in Rockwood 10 years after they ended up there. That is linear.
It's very Stephen King.
Right. We're getting a lot of back.
I was going to say it had a Lost vibe. Kind of just starts.
I mean, that's same.
I'm at a little bit of a different place where you guys are because I'm personally thinking of the whole entire story that I've read.
We're doing
I know it's
1 through
hard.
6.
I have to separate it to just this.
What you read is what we're doing right here. All right. So they're in. Is it Rockwood or Rockville? I just want to make sure.
Rockwood.
It is Rockwood. Okay. So Rockwood is this weird little idyllic
Twilight Zone-y
town that we learn very quickly. It's got there's other folks who live in the town. These superheroes that are living a hidden existence off on a farm and a cabin,
Yeah.
which comes into play, as to why there's that cabin's there. But they're like the outsiders in town. They're kind of looked at, the local sheriff really seems to hold a grudge.
Trueheart.
Sheriff Trueheart seems to hold a grudge for bigger reasons than we're going to learn why. But he doesn't trust these people. He doesn't seem to like these people. And so they live on the outskirts of town. And we start to learn that like every attempt they've ever made to send a probe, we'll get to that in a second,
Or to leave
the town, they can't. There's some kind of like, this is kind of the lost thing I thought of. Like you said, there's no way off this town, kind of like the island. You don't know what's going on, but they can't get out.
Well, I think, I was reading this, and it was one of the, when Jason Aaron, I don't know if he's still writing it because I haven't read it in ages, when he was writing Southern Bastards, he had in...
It's on hiatus.
Is it on hiatus? Yeah. He had in a letters column in like one of the first 5 or 6 issues, he said, because he grew up in the South, he said that it's a place where the family that's been there for 30 years is still considered the new people,
right?
And it almost has that same type of vibe where they've already been there for 10 years, but they're still considered the new people.
Yeah,
whereas he does a good job of setting them as outsiders.
They definitely do have that new people vibe in town,
and Lemire does a good job of using that vibe to kind of keep them cloistered, and in keeping them cloistered has the friction and tension between them build up because they really are kind of just stuck together.
They're fucking weird.
Yeah,
especially with certain ones.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're all weird.
They don't have they're not social, with the rest of the town for many reasons they keep to themselves, and that kind of proximity over that amount of time just has bred a resentment between them, which actually adds to the depth of the characters.
Yeah, they're spending 10 years with each other.
They've got a walking, talking female robot.
Yeah. All right, let's get into that. Lloyd, why don't we start going through the characters?
All right, so you got, do we want to say Black Hammer at this point?
Okay.
Save him to the end.
Save him to the end because even though the book's titled after him, he he doesn't show up an awful lot.
So your first character is Abraham Slamkowski.
Yep.
AKA Abraham Slam.
AKA, which I also noticed when the sheriff was talking to him or someone in town, they called him Slamstein.
Yeah,
so I thought that was kind of weird.
I think the name is, he changed his name for this town, I believe.
Yeah, because I'm in my head, and they never talk about it, I'm thinking that even though this town might not be in the same... It could not even be in the same universe.
It's probably not the same
world. I think
world.
he's trying to hide who he is, thinking maybe these people might know, but I'm thinking these people, at least where we are, don't even know who he is.
They don't know. They don't
even know that. But yeah, Abraham Slam. And let's get into the archetype. This is...
I would say, all right, you guys are better at this, but I'll give it a shot. I would say it's a combination of Captain America and Wildcat. Yeah, Wildcat.
Captain America, Daredevil.
Daredevil?
Like the origin story.
See, I get the Wildcat from the boxing stuff.
I get the Daredevil from the boxing stuff where it's like his mentor was a boxer who gets killed for, these kind of nefarious reasons, but he is absolutely Captain America.
All right.
And and the other thing that's not Captain America about him is that he's a superhero, but he doesn't, at least to this point, he's not roided up or
no. He's all natural.
He's all natural.
And he's the de facto father figure, basically the leader of the group.
Right. But very similar to Cap, he wants to fight in World War II.
Yeah.
And he's a weakling and he can't pass any tests.
Very similar origin story.
His blood. The doctor says your blood's no good or something.
Yeah. All the origin stories are very similar to certain characters. So.
And you have such a deep history in reading comics and knowing all these. I don't have the same history you guys. So I see this and I enjoy it, and I'm like, oh wow, that's cool.
Right, but
even though I know,
Lemire didn't hide that. You know what
No,
I mean?
it's totally intentional.
No. If Lemire came out and said that, oh no, these aren't archetypical characters of then people would just go fuck yourself.
We'd have to dick punch him.
Right.
No, he doesn't.
No, he's doing very much what he wants to take. This
but
wouldn't
he
be
wanted the archetypes,
right? Because and I mean the archetypes are right down to to some of the names that we'll get into in a second.
Right. So then you have Gail Gibbons, who's a 9-year-old girl, and she's brooding all the time. She's very upset. Her superhero name is Golden Gale.
She's a 9-year-old girl, but she's not a 9-year-old girl.
She is in real life. So what happened was
she's reverse Captain Marvel.
It's basically
right, Captain Marvel. So back when she was a superhero, she got these powers when she was 9 by saying Zafram.
Yes,
right.
The wizard Zafram,
which would be Shazam. Yeah. And so whenever she as she grew up in her real life, whenever she said Zafram, she would turn back to a 9-year-old superhero.
Superpowered 9-year-old, yeah.
So when the whole Cataclysm event happened and they went to Rockwood, she was stuck as a 9-year-old girl.
Yeah, which
she's
is
very pissed off about it.
And I felt for her because I mean, she's not young. She's, I think they said 59.
Right.
When
No,
the whole
55.
55.
She's 55, she said.
There was a
sorry, she's fucking 55.
fucking, yeah.
I
right.
think one of the first things
Yeah,
that
she told,
says
"Fuck
when she's
off,
on the road,
Abe."
she goes, I miss having tits.
Yeah, right.
And it's just like, it
Yeah.
just sets her character off. It's
Yeah.
like one of her first panels. It's like,
Yeah.
I miss having tits.
Yeah,
She can still fly, you know.
She can fly. She's super powered, and there was a great. I
She
think
just can't turn back into her real self.
into her real self. There was a great 6-panel little bit there where it showed her on the left getting older,
Yeah.
and then on the right it would show her turning back to Golden Gale
Yeah.
and fighting, villains, and you could see that it was almost like a comic, like it was Silver Age, Golden Age, Bronze
Exactly.
Age,
Yep.
as she's getting older.
And she's Golden Gale, so she was created in the Golden Age.
Right. So you get this character that is stuck in this place that she doesn't want to be with a bunch of people, and she's a kid.
Right.
And so,
She's lived a full life.
She's
Well, I
lived a
mean,
full
if you
life.
think
Yeah.
about it, she has it the worst of all of them.
Oh, absolutely.
And she is, in my opinion, as of right now, the deepest character of the group.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's
Everyone-
Well, her and Barbalian are very similar stories
Yeah.
in that regard. We'll
both
get
tall
to
as
that.
well, Barbalian.
Well, I'll get to him. So yeah, she
fuck you.
Hang on, wait. Let me see if I can do this right.
Yeah.
no, he's actually next. But no, so Abraham Slam sees him at one point, or sees her smoking, right? And she's like, "Don't smoke, and don't forget you got school tomorrow."
They got to
She's
drop her off at school.
Fuck off, Abe. Fuck off. So that instantly she's a good character. So the next one is Mark Marks.
Mark Marks, yeah.
Mark Marks with a Z at the end, a.k.a. Barbalian, who's the warlord of Mars.
Who is not the warlord of Mars. Well, I mean, that's what they call him in this.
That's what his name is.
But when you
in
meet
this.
him, he is being made fun of by other Martians for being a pacifist, basically, for being
Exactly,
a
yeah,
scientist.
his issue. Yeah.
Yeah, and he gets exiled to go study Earth, right? Like they tell him, go look at Earth. Get the fuck out of our hair.
Right,
Go look at
a
Earth.
NASA astronaut landed on Mars.
Because remember, I was going to say the astronaut had landed, and they wanted to attack Earth. And
Yeah.
he was the one saying, maybe we should actually go and study them
Right,
and learn
maybe
from
they're
them
friendly.
first. Maybe
They
they're friendly.
look harmless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go poke them for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go stick your finger in their butts. Find out what's happening.
Well, apparently it is.
The Martians saw the ship landing as like a prelude to an attack.
Right.
And their solution was just annihilate us before we become a problem.
And this is all taking place in the 50s. All this stuff is taking place in the 50s. It's like an idyllic science fiction 50s because NASA's landing on Mars with
the origins of all these characters do not happen at the same time. They're all spread out throughout time.
and Barbalian.
And he is the archetype of Martian manhunter.
He's a changeling.
John Jones?
John Jones,
John Jones. Yeah.
Oh, and he's gay.
And
is.
and he's a changeling, so he's a shapeshifter. And
Well, I don't know if he's gay so much as he's mostly gay.
Oh, he's gay.
Well, no, in the story he is, but there's a bit later on you read that it seems like he'll swing both ways.
Oh,
if he
okay.
really
All
wants
right.
to.
All right. He seems to have a thing for the local priest in
Yeah.
town, who he feels, as he's explained to the family at one point, that he met someone that's like him.
Yeah.
The priest is probably thinking, "Oh, you like little boys too?" Huh?
Yeah, that's
That's
where
gross.
we are. They don't get past that, but I'm like, where are they going with this? Because he doesn't know the priest is gay. I think there's going to be some weird.
well, if we
Dean
get in,
Ormston
are we
doesn't-
going to go like issue by issue with this, or story by story? No.
We're covering
we
the
read
whole
the
thing.
whole fucking
We're
thing.
covering the whole thing.
Yeah. So
Dean Ormston does a very good job of single panel reaction art.
Yeah.
So it's like you're getting a face shot, a headshot of a character, and you're looking right as they're reacting to something that was said or a look that from another character. It's very well done because you could tell right away that there's some kind of physical attraction between the
yeah,
two
I think
characters.
Dean Ormston is fantastic art in this book.
Does anybody else? I mean, maybe it's just me and
Well, you love his art anyway.
I love his art, but like, does he not like kind of like have a Frank Quietly vibe?
No.
Just kind of faces and stuff to me have a
no,
Frank
I
Quietly
don't really
vibe.
get that.
I get
No,
that.
he's very unique in his art style.
I mean, fuck, it is gorgeous.
Oh
but-
yeah, that was
yeah,
sick.
it is gorgeous.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no, I remember what I was going to say anyway. So when he does come to Earth, he just sort of stumbles across a crime that's happening where a police officer is shot and killed.
Which is Martian Manhunter's origin. He
Right,
takes the
and-
order. He takes
And
the.
he becomes that police
He becomes
officer.
the cop, and
he
he
shapeshifts.
He does it for years.
Right, he does it for years.
until he fucking tries to park his.
And then he tries to blow his partner.
He tries to
and-
blow his partner, and things don't go as well for him at that
Yeah,
point.
he didn't appreciate that.
No. You think there's gonna be this moment for a second where you're like, oh, he's gonna finally be able to like let his love out. Maybe
Right.
his partner's gonna go, you know what, buddy, we've been together a long time. I'm not that way, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
the partner's
no.
like, get the fuck out of the car right now before I shoot you in the face. So yeah, Barbalian, things
not
aren't going
with
so
what you
well.
think it was.
No, yeah, really.
Well, I think there was a lot of subtext in that too, where he felt he was always kind of repressed. Even when he was living on Mars, and he thought maybe he had come to a place where he could be a little freer to be himself.
and that's
he
what I'm
ended
saying.
up- and he ended up in exactly the same spot he was, where
Right.
he's just hiding. You
Right.
know what I mean? He's not him. He can't be himself either in his home planet or on his adopted planet.
And then to confuse things as the story goes along, we find out that Golden Gale, or Gail Gibbons,
She has feelings.
She has
for
feelings
him.
for him, and he's just like, I'm gay. You're 9. You're a girl. I'm an alien.
I'm made of wood.
I'm made of wood. There's so much wrong here. Is he made of wood?
No, he just looks like
okay.
it. He's made of meat.
Like, did I miss? Yeah, he does look like he kind of looks like a fucking hot dog.
He looks like a sock.
He does kind of look like, he looks like a
He's
socky,
he looks like a crunchy meat sock.
crunchy meat sock.
Yeah.
Sock.
Sock hot dog. All right, who else we have?
So next in line is Colonel Randall Weird.
I love Colonel Weird.
Colonel Weird is so cool.
Colonel Weird is boy, oh boy, am I going to say it, weird. What a fucking oddball character. And
he is always traveling through what they call the
Parazone.
Parazone. It's like in and out. He's like a drifter through time.
he is by far
He's living time all simultaneously.
all at one time.
Uh-huh.
All at one time. He's seeing everything. Even the other characters don't know what point he's in or at. And one of my so first of all, the archetype of this character, to me, this is Adam Strange and Doctor Strange.
That's what I got. Adam
Like,
Strange.
Both strangers.
Both strangers.
That's exactly
right.
how
So
I
you
see
got
him.
you got the spaceman aspect of it, and Adam Strange travels between Earth and Ran on the Zeta beam.
Yeah.
And then he's not a sorcerer, but then you have that whole astral plane, which is kind of where I think the Parazone comes into play. One of the things I loved about this book, and I didn't get it the first time when I was reading where he pops up the first time. The first time he pops up, I thought, oh, there's a character that's just a head, because when they're eating breakfast, there's a bit where they're eating breakfast, and all it is his head. But then as you go through the book, you realize that he is constantly just like coming through the ceiling.
Yeah, he's just phasing through things.
Because he keeps on dropping out of the Parazone. And they said at one point, like, you're not always here. He's in the middle of the conversation in the beginning. And
His text balloons are always gray.
right.
You know, he doesn't know, he's not anywhere. Really.
He just disappears at one point, you know.
Yeah.
And he's again, maybe this is me reading into it, but he looks like Alan Moore. He's looks like Alan Moore. Like, I'm wondering if that was part of the,
I don't know.
the idea.
I didn't get that.
He's got the long gray beard and the
No,
long
I
gray
agree
hair.
with
Do you
John.
agree with that?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't even think of that until you said
Yeah.
it. So that's
All right.
I'm sorry.
You know, and then you get this moment
kinda
where
funny.
even though he's like constantly in the Parazone and he is the least reliable, like in terms of character, because he's never really
Right.
tethered to the earth. He actually at one moment does come through really big during the Abraham Slam
Right.
is going to have a
Because when he went to the Parazone, he was a young man.
Right.
But we almost always see him as an older man.
yeah, almost. But then there's a point where he cleans up and he pretend, you know, because he has to pretend to be
Going to be the
Slam's son for
Yeah.
this Slam is dating
for
Slam
this
slamming.
horrible I don't know, principal of a school or
no,
she's
the waitress at the
Short
Waitress at
order
the diner.
waitress.
Yeah.
yeah, well, he was in that.
Tammy
scene.
Trueheart.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of a different.
he's
scene.
dating Tammy Trueheart, who everybody calls Titties.
Tammy Titty Hosebag.
Titty Hosebag, yeah. He's dating her, and she is like having this
You
thing where
know, now I just got it.
what
Tammy Trueheart.
is it? Underdog?
No.
Okay.
It's from Dick Tracy.
Oh, is it really?
So you think of the sheriff as Dick Tracy, the fat,
Okay,
nasty
yeah.
Dick Tracy.
Yeah, all right.
Just one brief thing going back to Colonel Weird was, I mean, did you not get a little bit of like a Dr. Manhattan vibe off of him too? Just in the sense that he doesn't view like the problems of, I'm air quoting it, the problems of mortals in the same way as anyone else does because he's been warped by the Parazone.
Well, I think
but he's so confused.
Well,
that's what I think he just sometimes thinks like.
I think Manhattan exists on a reality that's above everybody else's.
Yeah.
I think, like John said, this guy is living time all askewed, and I think he doesn't even know where the fuck he is at any point. So I don't think it's that he doesn't look at their problems the same. It's just that what is you trying to date this woman matter to me when I'm going to disappear out of this room in 5 seconds and then end up like else, I'm going to pop up in the fucking center of the Milky Way or whatever it is. So yeah, he's a very cool weird character for sure.
He's awesome.
So we have just to get into it real quick, we have the dinner party where Abraham Slam has been slamming Tammy Trueheart, who was the ex-wife of the sheriff. That's part of the reason the sheriff doesn't like Slam and these people. And to pass off their relationship, and she's
As
wondering,
a family,
she's wondering why don't I ever come to your house? It's like, why are you always coming to my house to bang me? Why do we never? And so he has dinner. Come on over. But he has to pretend to be a family.
Right.
So
some people have to go to the barn.
Right. So yeah. Talkie-walkie. We'll get to him in a second.
Captain Colonel Weird too.
Colonel Weird shows up though.
Weird but he didn't want him to.
Didn't want him to. So Slam ends up pretending to be the father of Mark Marks Barbalian and then the grandfather of Gale, and then you get this great moment where Colonel Weird, like even though he's been sent off to the barn because he's untrustworthy to have in there, shows up like in his military uniform and he's
looking very young,
and his hair is cut and he's
Canadian colonel.
Yeah, he's like a Canadian Air Force colonel,
right.
Royal Navy or whatever.
That's a good story. It sounds like something I created in one of the role-playing games that we're in.
Canadian colonel. But I love the bit where he pops
Canadian
up and
Air Force.
He comes in. He comes in there and he comes through for him.
There go the Canadian listeners. Australian biker gangs and Canadian listeners.
Can't get the word.
Can't get this one fucking word out.
No, I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. All right, who's next character?
Pint O Comics.
Talkie-walkie.
Talkie-walkie.
My favorite.
TLKE. WLKE.
Right.
So this is Talkie-walkie. This is
so much easier to say.
Yeah. No, I like how they spell it out.
Talkie.
Talkie.
Yeah, Talkie.
So who's Talkie-walkie?
So Colonel Weird discovered a robot planet and actually discovered Talkie-walkie.
Wait a minute, you're jumping ahead.
I might
there,
be.
buddy.
All right. Well, anyway,
You're
that's what
jumping
happened.
ahead. We don't know that in the first 6 issues.
All right, sorry.
To me,
spoiler sweet.
Yeah, really, you fucking ruined that now.
No, I don't think so.
No, that ruined it for me.
that's it. I'm done.
So anyway,
now it's not my
Talkie-walkie
favorite character.
is like a mother computer, basically.
Yeah, the
With
way
a
I
green
looked at
light
it,
bulb for a head.
Yeah.
the way I looked at it in the first 6 issues is that Talkie-walkie is just like R2D2 to Luke. You know what I mean? Like I assume up to this point,
Not like
Get over it.
in what was that shitty Star Wars movie there? The one that
BB-8.
yeah, no, the other one, the one that Lando was banging.
Oh,
For the love of God, he wasn't banging the robot.
I keep saying that just to piss him off.
You know,
He's pansexual.
Honestly, like quick sidebar.
Yeah.
Like, honest to God, I made one comment one time at work about you talking about Lando banging the robot, or you said it somewhere.
And now
that
everyone thinks
one of my like coworkers to this day still busts my balls. And he goes, well, John says that Lando was banging the robot. And I'm like, I have no. It's like, honest to God, it's been 2 years, and I still get it at least twice a month.
watch the movie.
He wasn't banging the robot. I don't even know where you get that from.
Listen,
Oh, it's
they're talking.
it's very heavily
saying,
inferred.
They're talking.
It's not even inferred.
Hold on. Shh. I'll explain to you where it's set. They're in the cockpit. The Daenerys dragon girl is talking to the robot, and they say something about how would that even work? And the robot says, "Trust me, it can." He's banging the robot.
No, he's not banging the robot. She was. That's
At
her
least
character.
once.
She's sitting there going, "It would work," but that's her character.
He's banging the robot.
He's not banging the
Just
robot.
think, you fucked the Millennium Falcon.
But honestly, oh my God.
All right. So what do you say is the archetype for this character?
I honestly
having too much fun.
look at it as like it's not R2D2. Talkie-walkie appears to be like obviously it has sentience to an extent because it's also trying to find a way to get them off of this out of this town.
Relentlessly trying
it is
to
constantly rebuilding
send a probe out or
these
something.
probes out, which eventually in the book as you go along eventually does end up in whatever Spiral City is. Whatever. What are you okay? What are you doing?
I'm just I have a headache over you with this banging the robot.
Oh,
thing.
Jesus Christ! Jesus Christ! I can't believe you can't. You fully accepted that Star Wars has porked you over the last couple of years, but you can't believe they would do that.
Well, I just don't know the blatant logic leaps you make to like just put stuff there that's not.
The robot character says it.
No. She never says that it does work. She says it would work.
It works. The robot.
And that's just part. That's just part of her character.
The robot and Lando are fucking.
No, the robot and Lando are not.
All right, let's take a poll.
right.
I say yes.
Doesn't matter.
Yes. Gary?
Hand jobs.
At least a hand job. Wow, I like that answer. They need a lot of lube for that, though. I would not trust that at all.
Oh, baby. You ripped off the first layer of skin, baby. All right. All right.
Moving on.
You're outnumbered, Lou.
We're done with Star Wars.
I could say anything at this point, and you guys would gang up on me in the opposite direction.
I'm kicking Star Wars out of this conversation. All right. So Talkie Walkie has been trying to build a probe to see if they can get past the bounds of the town. Finally, one does, and then we find out in a later issue that probe has ended up in Spiral
City. The very
City.
last issue?
No clue. The
I think
very
it's at
last
the very
issue.
end. Yeah.
Well, no, the probe is before that, and then we get a visitor from Spiral City who comes through.
Right.
Right. All right. So who's the next character?
Madam Dragonfly.
This was the weirdest one for me.
Yeah, she's weird.
Because she really doesn't have.
She's more like just a horror archetype.
She's
like,
a horror archetype.
Yeah,
right?
from like Tales of Mystery or something like
books
that.
or something. And
yeah.
she also
Not really.
narrates her own story.
Very DC.
Is it very DC?
Very
Like DC
DC.
horror
Very DC.
type stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously she creates Swamp Thing. We that happens.
Well, no, it's pretty much Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
It's Swamp Thing.
Well, calling it the Man Thing, I mean, it's
I'll call it Swamp Man.
giant size
Swamp
Man
Man.
thing.
So Madam Dragonfly is go ahead, give us the character. Give
Wow,
us
she's
She's a Madame Xanadu, really.
yeah.
She really is. When you get to the end of it, she's Madame Xanadu slapped together with every horror host that DC ever had, and then giving her dragon wings or dragonfly wings is a nice touch.
Yeah.
yeah, especially
Not really
when
sure
she meets
why,
the original previous Madam Dragonfly.
Well, she's
So she is like a naive sort of farmer's wife who has lost a child, a little baby boy, and the townspeople said, "Oh, go to Madam Dragonfly; she can bring him back for you." So she goes there, and
Hello, dearie.
yeah, that was a creepy. There was some good art in that issue.
well, and where does she
Very,
go?
very Graham Ingalls.
She goes to the cabin in the woods.
To the cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
Where the current Madam Dragonfly,
in the woods.
and they end up making.
and
they
they make
call
a
it like the Cabin of Mysteries, don't they, or something like that?
Did they?
It's something like that.
Yeah, I'd have to-
maybe cabin something.
Cabin of Horrors.
Yeah, I think maybe it's Cabin
like
of
that.
Horrors. Yeah, I probably
I don't
got it
know if
written
it's
down somewhere.
I don't know if it's given all capitals like it's a title. But,
Right.
but I think you're right.
something
Well,
like
and the other thing I said, was she's when it gets to her issue and her origin, she is actually narrating her story
really
to the viewer, to the reader.
Yeah.
And so, hey, you know what? Do me a favor.
Read
Mike.
on.
Yeah, read on. Read on the terrors
It's
of
the Cabin of Horrors.
Cabin of
Yeah,
Horrors.
it is. Okay.
She goes, she sees the current Madam Dragonfly and says, "Hey, my baby has died. Bring him back to life.
He's all blue.
Well, all blue. Hey, we could do this. We just have to trade places, and
Right.
you're stuck here forever. You're the new Madam Dragonfly. You know, that's basically what happens, and never brings the baby back or anything.
No, never brings it back.
And you're wondering, like, how did she end up with these people? Because she's not like a hero. She ends up getting.
She gets called into the Cataclysm, which
Yeah.
is the name of this event that happens with the anti-god.
And when the Flash
Crisis?
happens, the
Yeah,
crisis.
the crisis. Yeah.
And when the Flash happens, when everybody ends up over in Rockwood,
Rockwood.
she goes and the
She
cabin
and
travels
her
with
cabin
her.
goes, but we didn't really get to the creature yet. So when she goes to see this witch, she switches places. She becomes the witch. She gets the power. She gets the dragonfly wings.
She has the power.
And she can like cast spells.
I have the power. Sorry, I just
Wait, now you got to say it like Dolph Lundgren.
no. That was Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, really?
I have the power.
There you go.
I just watched that movie like a month ago.
Boy, that peaked out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, totally. Yeah, totally. Don't worry, I backed up.
So while she's at the cabin, eventually, this is, I don't know, 100 years later. I don't remember the time.
Yeah, I think her thing was definitely like 1600s or something.
Yeah.
It felt like
Yeah,
it.
it felt like it was drawn and like supposed to be, obviously,
M. Night Shyamalan twist. It was present day.
it was present day the
you
whole
go.
time, the village.
Yeah. So some townsfolk come and they want to kill her because, she's a witch.
Such a dick.
And so she said, "Oh, come on into the cabin, and maybe you'll find what you're looking for." And one of them gets attacked by zombie creatures, and the other one ends up. Does she shoot him?
She blasts him with a fucking
blasts-
like a laser
she blasts
blast,
him,
or,
yeah.
or a mystic sorceress blast.
And so that guy ends up falling into the swamp.
Like that is the Swamp Thing origin.
Yeah.
Like he's covered in like green flame. He jumps into the swamp.
Yeah.
And then he comes out Swamp
He
Thing.
comes out looking like the swamp thing.
Bio-restorative
Bio-restorative
formula.
formula. He's Swamp Thing with like kind of like Groot's head.
Yeah,
It's
right,
basically
right.
what
Like a
this guy
Groot head
is,
swamp
yeah.
thing, green. And they fall in love.
As you would.
As you would, definitely. I mean, yeah.
They fall in love. She has to leave to go for
She leaves
the
for the
crisis.
cataclysm, and when the cataclysm is over, she's in Rockwood. Her cabin's in Rockwood, but the swamp man is not
Yeah,
there.
but she gets pregnant too.
Oh, right. That is, I think, the promise of the woman the old had.
Right. It was like a backhanded deal. It was like
Right.
your son's not going to come back to life, but you're gonna
Right.
have life.
Backhanded deal. Yep.
And I can't
And then,
remember
of course, they don't ever show that son, but they allude to a horrible story that is just too harsh to show.
Right. Well, I mean,
Dear reader.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dear reader.
yeah, log miscarriage. I don't want to hear about that. It's terrifying.
So yeah, that's
It's log. It's big. It's heavy. It's wood. It's log. It's log.
it's better than bad. It's good.
Come on and get your log.
Nerds.
Everyone loves the log.
Fucking nerds.
Come on and get your log.
All right, who do we have? We have other characters you have written down?
Well, that's it for our crew, and I should say, I guess, as far as the cabin that our main people live in, that's separate from her cabin.
Right, well,
They're
no.
not together.
Yeah, they live in a farmhouse. Her cabin is
Yeah.
on the property.
Who wants
Correct.
to live there?
Who wants to live where?
In the cabin of horrors.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible.
Probably smells
And she and during the whole
like swamp.
the whole
thing.
dinner
jizz.
Swamp jizz.
Swamp Thing jizz.
Ugh.
When the Swamp Thing jizzes, it's just it's like when you dump out your lawn bag.
Yeah, it smells like compost.
I was gonna say if you boil it down, is it like syrup?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, if the Swamp Thing is at any point made out of like a maple,
Yeah,
and
right.
you tap
put it on
into
your
them,
pancakes.
yeah, and you fucking have them jizz on your pancakes.
Jizz cakes.
Jizz cakes.
Hey, Swamp Thing, can you
Hey,
do me a
Swamp Thing,
favor?
can I have a little U on my pancakes, please?
Whatever you say, Lou. Whoa, there's a clump in that one. Boil it down.
We are awful.
All right, so now that we got these characters,
So we've met all that. We've talked about anti-god.
we talked about anti-god.
There's another villain that's in the one of the issues. Very briefly, Sherlock Frankenstein.
Well, all the villains are brief because they're all
Right.
flashbacks and they're all
Right,
like one
but you see a
panel.
lot more of anti-god than
And
you see of this guy.
Cthulhu.
You only
Yeah,
see
yeah,
him in
Cthulhu.
one panel.
Cthulhu.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome.
Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite villain.
And I think there was one
You're not Cthulhu.
Taurus.
Yeah, Taurus the metal minotaur.
Taurus the Metal Minotaur. Yeah.
All right. So besides all these characters, you've got the Black Hammer, who's Joseph Weber, who we never,
In this 6 issues, all you
I
know
mean, we
about him.
see him, but we don't really know his story.
He is the only thing you know about him in this is that he is disappeared or dead. His
Yeah.
hammer is still there.
Apparently, he tried to escape.
Did they
and
even
they-
mention
and-
that?
They did.
Yeah,
it's
they
alluded
allude to
to a person tried to escape, but they don't say who.
Okay.
And they do say things like, "Well, we know what happened to him." You know.
And the only thing you really know about him truly is that
He was the best of us.
and he's also like in comic book terms, he's also kind of like, I'm gonna equate it to like when Giant Size X-Men came out, because he is like, he even says to them like, Abraham Slamkowski, it's 1979. You're not the hero that this place needs. I am. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
He is like,
a little bit of ego there.
there's ego,
Taking
but
out
it's-
Cthulhu.
Yeah, he takes on Cthulhu, but it's also very linear to comic books, like
Yeah.
where like now this new group of heroes comes out, and like maybe we don't need the old guys anymore.
Right.
Yeah, Kingdom Come all over.
Yeah.
So that's
over.
that's
Wink,
Black
wink.
Hammer. I don't think I mentioned his name, Joseph Weber.
No, you did. You mentioned
Oh, I did?
Joseph Weber,
All right,
and
that's-
then his daughter was it?
Then
Lucy?
we find out at the end of the first issue.
Yeah, well, you meet her. Yeah, at the end of the first issue, you meet her on the other side in Spiral City.
Right.
She's been looking.
So she's in Spiral City. Her father, the Black Hammer, is gone and disappeared along with the whole team of superheroes.
Right.
And she's trying to get to the bottom of it.
I'm distracting you.
Yeah, stop distracting us.
The thing about like where they ending up in Rockwood and everything else, Abraham, because of that interaction with Black Hammer, is the only one to actually embrace the new situation because he felt that he was on the way out. Like he said, you are you're old news, and
He's a slammer.
He almost doesn't want to leave. He's actually pretty happy with it.
Yeah,
He's like, you know what, my time's over. I'm done. I'm content to be here. I've got a girlfriend. I've got a life. You know what I mean? And he's not.
Titty Tanny.
It's not that he's. Yeah. It's not that he's actively trying to stop them from leaving, but he's in no way helping
He's
or trying to
he's
get them
okay
out of
with
there.
making it
Yeah,
work because
exactly.
And there's also like I said about the 6 panels with Gail earlier, which showed her getting older and then it showed her through time. There's a 6 panel I think bit in here where it shows him looking in the mirror. And then next to it is him like, in an adventure. And then it's him looking in the mirror and pushing his gut out. And it's just showing the passage of time and how he's not that guy anymore,
Yeah, it was just like in The Incredibles.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure The Incredibles got it from somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did.
This is where John's going to shit on this book. Get ready, everybody.
Here we go. Hang on.
Jeff Lemire.
I've already said it was well plotted.
Oh, jeez.
Excellent. Hey, I'm taking it.
That's like winning the MTV Moon Award back in 1981. Oh, and the Eisner
MTV, what's that mean?
the Eisner for Sir John best plotted book with a at the end of it.
But I think the other thing with Abraham is when you read deeper into the situation, he almost is just willfully ignoring the problems that everyone else is facing. Almost like just saying we're here now.
Because he's
deal with
getting
it.
laid.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing.
They're all kind of pissing me off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like, Gail, you got to go to school. You're 9 years old.
The
Deal
only
with
things
it.
that actively
They've been
make
there
him
for
mad.
10 years.
She can't be
And she's been going to the
homeschooled?
same fucking grade for 10 years. That kind of
I wondered about that too.
Yeah, some of that's a
but
little
they've never
strange,
really
but-
gotten into the whole, into
Yeah.
the whole
the
like
time
how to pass the
dilation
time and
or-
everything else.
Yeah.
Well, people can leave, but they can't.
True.
Yeah, they did mention that. They did say that it's not like nobody could leave the town.
Right.
Yeah.
They can't leave the town. And I did wonder that too about like why is Gail like now she's like going into school like wouldn't the kids like she's just staying the
Wouldn't the
same.
principal say, why are you still in 4th grade?
She's like those girls that Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused likes so much.
Yeah.
I get older and Gail keeps
They
staying
stay
the
the
same.
Oh my.
All right, so essentially, at the end of early issue, we find out that the Black Hammer has a daughter in Spiral City still that is kind of actively. She knows something has happened. She
Right.
doesn't know where they went or whatnot. As we go further along,
She visits Starman. I mean,
she does visit
Dr. Star.
She does visit Dr. Star, who's totally Starman. And
Yeah, that's a good series. I like that one too.
What?
I'll get to it.
see, Lloyd's ahead of us all, so he's going to tell us what's good and what's not good.
I'm so much better
so
than you
much
guys.
better than you. All right. So she visits Dr. Star, who I think that was the point where we learned that the Talkie-Walkie's probe had crossed over
Right.
into whatever the difference is, whether it's a different world or a different parallel universe or whatnot.
Did we
And
already get to the part where they discovered the doorway in space? Or was that earlier?
the doorway in space was earlier.
It was
Okay.
Dr. Star.
Dr. Star
Yeah.
discovered, that
That came before
But I don't do that anymore.
the probe.
what?
That's what he says.
Oh,
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
not
he's not-
Dr.
yeah,
Star
he's-
anymore.
he's not a hero
It's
anymore.
it's so Starman. If you never read that
I
series,
have
did
the
you?
whole series.
Yeah.
I got to read it eventually.
There's a point in there where Ted Knight actually does that.
Did Starman, I'm not too familiar with that. Did he have a thing with his son? Like, is that a main part of the story?
Starman?
It's a legacy character.
Yeah, his youngest son becomes the next Starman.
Jack Knight?
Jack Knight,
Jack
yeah.
Knight, yeah. The only Starman I've ever really truly read was the mid 80s one.
It's part of that series.
Is that part of it too?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Who was that character? What was his name?
Will Payton.
Will Payton. He had that really kind of goofy star
That
uniform.
awful uniform.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, he
tried-
kind of had the mullety hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a superhero.
It's a good series. Though.
Did they ever has he ever been maybe in Starman, but has he ever been reintroduced in the DC universe like even before you stopped reading stuff?
After the Starman series. Oh god, we're getting way off topic.
Just real quick, I'm curious.
Yeah, he does get reintroduced. I think they killed him again at some point, but he can't really be killed. So
Okay.
it's a weird situation. But of course, now with the new post 52 convergence, slam everything together so you don't understand a fucking thing about the DC universe. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, he's Batman now, so
That would make sense.
They made him Batman.
Yeah, thank you, Dan Didio.
Yeah, he found the button from Watchmen in his little cave, and it's the whole thing.
And he's got a mullet too.
Yeah, he did have a mullet. That fucking guy.
Yeah.
That was truly an '80s character. I remember having those books when I was a kid and just being like, I don't know if this guy is less cool than Quasar. Quasar, I don't know. All right, so they find the doorway in space, and basically when we get to the kind of the end of the 6 issues, Weber's daughter, Black Hammer daughter, comes through the doorway and ends up in
Rockwood.
And that's where we kind of have our bum 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 the ending.
And they all meet her, and they're like, did they recognize who she was? I don't remember.
Yes, they did.
They did recognize her. Yeah.
They didn't realize. Well, the last time they saw her, she was like what, 11.
Yeah, I think one of them says like you were like 12 the last time I saw you.
So she's much older,
Right.
obviously. And then she's zapped in the head by
Right,
Madame Dragonfly.
Doesn't she say, I know something, or she says something
She
that
blames
triggers
Madame Dragonfly.
Yeah, she comes through and she seems like she's in a trance, or maybe just from traveling through the whatever it is, the door, Parazone, whatever it is, and Dragonfly, which was a cool effect.
Anti-God shithole.
She puts her finger on the side, and then you see the green, like the magic, come through the other side of her head.
Right.
She says, I think she says forget.
Yeah.
She gives her the old,
she says
the
forget,
opposite of,
and then she gets the weird eyes, and
it basically ends there.
that's where it ends. Yeah.
So that's
people with the shit coming out of their eyes.
So that's Black Hammer Secret Origins, issues 1 through 6 in a generalized nutshell.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Lloyd, you are well beyond that, as we've talked about. You're the Black Hammer scholar. So why don't you tell us what is coming up without telling us like exactly what these books are? There's a whole bunch of this is the world of Black Hammer.
How many other?
So here we go. So you got
out?
the second volume of Black Hammer. I'll call it volume 1. So you got Black Hammer, and then the next one. And then that Black Hammer ends. And then the next issue series is Sherlock Frankenstein and the Legion of Evil. And that was 4. Then Dr. Starr and the Kingdom of Lost Tomorrows. And there's 4 of those. And then the Black Hammer Age of Doom. So back to the main story. Age of Doom. Actually, it's not really the main story, but you'll get there. There's 7 of those.
This is very Hellboy. I see where the Hellboy confusion might have been.
Then there's a Free Comic Book Day, and then there's Black Hammer, the Quantum Age, 6 issues. Black Hammer, Cthulhu
Gets a lady.
Right. No, that's the daughter.
Is there Black Hammer?
It's the daughter.
Is there Cthulhu?
That's just a one shot.
Is there Cthulhu Skywalker?
No.
Why can't Cthulhu have a girlfriend?
Cthulhu is great. There's a whole story about Cthulhu. And then there's
He's got the best name.
Black Hammer, Age of Doom, and then
Age of Doom.
Wait, didn't you already say Age of Doom like 2 things ago?
Nope. That was I'm going chronologically. Age of Doom 1 through 7, and then 8 through 12. That's the current Black Hammer that's going on right now. Age of Doom, and then Black Hammer.
Does he have
45.
mother issues? Does that Doom have mother issues?
Mother issues?
It's a Dr. Doom joke.
Dr. Doom
I'm
reference.
sorry.
Never mind.
I wanted to say Crack of Doom.
Well, that fell flat.
Yeah. Lou will be here all week.
Black Hammer 45.
Try the veal.
The Black Hammer, another Free Comic Book Day, 2019. And then there's the Encyclopedia. It's a one shot. It talks about all the characters.
Well, that just came out.
Because I picked that up.
Because we were at
and then
BoomTube.
Yeah.
The other current one ongoing is Black Hammer / Justice League.
Right, which issue 2 just dropped this
it's a
week.
crossover.
Yeah. All right. So let's go.
There's a lot out there, and I've just bought all of them ever since this started coming out.
All right, let's go one by one. We'll go to Lloyd last because we know he's going to suck its dick. He loves it so much. But
how about stroke its dick? I mean, why don't you
how about stroke it? You're the stroke guy. I'm the suck guy. That's why we make a good team. So
I just don't know where to go with that.
Jesus.
Right?
1 through 6 on the 6-pack scale.
What the fuck did I walk into?
How many beers do you give this? Okay, I know you don't like beer, so let's say seltzer. Okay. And then
seltzer,
after that,
soda,
because
whatever.
this is a continuing story,
Very fine.
would you move on to the next one? to the next of the 78 volumes that we just listed off. How many six packs or how many beers?
As a collected edition,
this right here.
No. I mean, I was just going to say, I don't think I would like reading this month to month. It was month to month for me. I'd probably give it a 3. I like reading it together, and I think it brings everything together because you get to have a deeper appreciation for the characters. I think when you go month to month, you forget. You know what I mean? Kind of what happened.
I get what you're saying.
So as a collected edition, probably 4.5.
4.5 beers for Black Hammer Secret Origins Volume 1.
You don't want to go before me?
And so I'll go before you. So based on reading this, would you buy the next trade? Are you gonna buy?
I'm gonna buy the next one.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
right.
Definitely.
So me, I am gonna give it. I think I did enjoy this. Like I said, it is the definition of an origin story. Like it literally. I don't want to say origin story. It's not the definition of an origin story. That's incorrect. But it's very much the situation they're in, and it's the definition of a character kind of story. You're learning about the characters and the situation they're in. There's no real conflict. There's none of that going on. Matter of fact, it's not the definition of origin because you do get some origins in here, but I'm sure there's much more we could see.
Right.
I would give this. I really love the art a lot. I did think that the story was pretty engaging. I'm gonna say I'd give this 4 beers. I'd give this 4 beers out of 6. I did enjoy it. I did buy the second trade when I bought this one, and I want to read it now. I didn't read it before this because I didn't want to be like Lloyd over here and be the scholar on it. I didn't want to start going, oh, you guys don't even know what's happening yet. No, I'm just kidding. All right, John, what did you think?
I said earlier it was well plotted. I do like the dialogue. I love the artwork. It gets a solid 2 very light beers.
Oh, Lloyd's choking him. Lloyd's choking him.
2 very light beers, and that's because it took me no time to read these things. And my beer level scale is based on how many beers I actually would drink while I'm reading it.
Oh, see, I'm not doing that.
See, that's how the beer scale works when I do a review.
Right. For me, it's based on enjoyment.
No. That's why getting to 6 beers while you're reading it that's why you get a high rating.
Oh, okay. So all right, our levels are a little different.
That's okay. I mean, you read into it what you want.
Okay,
but that's how you get the 2 beers out of me. And I'm saying very light beers because man, I would drink them fast.
2 beers. Would you read the next volume?
Out of a library, I would not pay for it. I didn't find it as engaging as the rest of you guys did. It's the archetypes drive me nuts, and I really don't like shared universes anymore. I'm done with them.
Yeah, he's totally against shared universes. Yeah, I know this.
Yeah.
Hellboy, buddy. You like Hellboy?
Hellboy's done.
Hellboy ain't done, dude. Hellboy's never gonna fucking end.
Yes, it is.
What
they do is when they go back in time and that kind of stuff. That's not the same ongoing storyline. It's already been told.
All right. So, but it's still a shared universe if they're back in time. You know what I'm saying?
See, I've already been reading that though.
All right.
So it's different than jumping into a new one.
He lawyered me. All right.
Just one brief thing. I don't want to.
Is that a new term that the Pint is using now? We lawyered you.
He lawyered me.
Oh, he's been saying shit like that all the time.
He loopholed me.
I mean, you consider this, and I mean, like, just so I get your idea of a definition of it. I mean, you give this you consider this a shared universe because I consider it even with things like that very insular.
They're crossing over with the Justice League.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of see that as a what if scenario. I didn't see that as
no. It's from what I understand. It's canon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. It's canon.
Yeah.
You said
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. This is not one of their.
But I mean, judging, but
whatever.
like with that, taking that out of your head just on these 6 issues. I mean, you would consider it
considering
a shared universe.
The list of titles he's given us with all different characters.
And like it said, it's called The World of Black Hammer.
Right.
So yeah, I would too. I agree with him.
Yeah.
I agree with him.
It may or may not be one. I mean, has Lemire written every single one of them?
He's written it all.
He's
He
written it
had
all,
some co-writers very recently.
He's written it all, but the art isn't all Ormston.
I mean, when I think
No,
shared
it's not all
universe, I
Ormston.
think like Marvel. I think like DC.
Right.
You know what I
And
mean?
none of the art is Lemire.
Right.
None of it.
Right.
Well,
Which is a good thing because
does he draw?
He does.
Covers. Oh yeah.
And
he definitely
I do
does.
like Lemire's art style, but for a superhero-y book, it would be a little weird. All right.
Lemire has fallen into one of those gaps in my reading period. This is probably the first thing I've ever read that he's written that I can think of. I might have read Sweet Tooth #1 and never was interested, but that's where I'm at. So,
All right, Lloyd, what do you got?
As a latecomer to the world of comics, I haven't had the benefit of reading all these origin stories for other characters, as probably all of you guys have. And you might tell me, oh, why don't you just go read Captain Marvel or this or that? I can't do that. I can read this, and I love this. I'm going to give this 5 out of 6.
5 out of 6 beers, and we don't have to ask you the second part of the question.
Right.
Because you were already reading it. So, hey, look, it's a success. The 100 proof Brook. See?
I told you.
Nope.
Nope. Don't point at me. I told you.
All right. Hey, that went well. The 100 proof book project is in the books. We talked about the Jeff Lemire and Dean Ormston book Black Hammer from Dark Horse. Obviously, we kind of gave our ratings at the end of it, and I think it seems like on an average we enjoyed it. Me, Lou, and Lloyd. Me and Lou kind of a middle of the road enjoyed it. John a little bit less, and Lloyd is going to stick his dick in it later on tonight.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
It's like I said earlier, it has a lost vibe to it. It's kind of hard to judge it. I mean, judge it just on the 6 issues because there's more that's going to feed
Right, but that's the point of this whole.
No, I know.
That's the whole point of this
Whether
book
or not you
project.
continue reading it. Or
Exactly.
Not.
We're going to be reading things based on 6 issues, or in the middle of a storyline, and
Right.
we've got to kind of make up our minds.
So
at
I
that
have a
point.
question.
Yeah,
Are we going to come back and do Black Hammer Volume 2? Or
we
is
can,
it
but
done?
not anytime soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe in a year or 5.
Yeah, let's
Okay. Just a question.
Let's get out there and do some different stuff, and
Yep.
and then we can get back and kind of follow up on it for sure. All right, so this has been Pint O Comics. We got the Manster,
Yeah.
Sir John,
Wow. Hi.
That's it.
Louis,
get.
Louis Scudengili Skywalker.
Read Die by Kieran Gillen.
Cthulhu.
Yeah, you don't even. The 6th issue came out this week, and you haven't even picked yours up yet.
Well, because I thought we were going down there to do filming.
Yeah, not this week.
And,
I got to cut all this out. All right, let me cut that out.
Read Die.
All right, read Die. And John, why don't you tell everybody what we do when we go away?
Get the fuck out! See ya.
That motorcycle said "see you" too. It was
actually perfectly timed.
it was Psych Hill from the GoBots.
It was awesome. It's a get the fuck out. Psycho.
It's over, Johnny. It's over! Nothing is over! Nothing! You just don't turn it off!